In this section, I want to talk about something called the Color Drop tool in Procreate. It works a lot like the Paint Bucket tools in other drawing applications, but it's a little bit different. Instead of an actual icon, I go to that little circle in the upper right-hand corner, and as I tap and drag on it, I can pull it out, and when I drop it in place by lifting my pencil, what happens? It fills up that space really nicely for me. I'm going to undo that really quick, and I'm going to draw another arrow. Actually, let me erase this arrow to get rid of any confusion. I'm going to draw an arrow pointing right here. That's where I want you to look when I drag this color again. I want you to see what happens as I drag out. See that little blue line up there? Now, as I drag my color, if I hold it in place and I don't lift my pencil, what you see there is something else pops up. It says the color drop threshold. Let me show you what that works. I keep it in the middle usually, but it does different things. So let me undo my circle here, and let me try something else. I have a circle, and maybe it just barely connects right there. In fact, that probably connects a little too much. So I'm going to take my eraser, and I'm gonna make it this the thinnest of lines, and we'll see what happens if it's just barely connected there. So now I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to drop it, and that fills. Now, if I drag my pencil to the left or to the right, let's see what happens. As that color drop threshold goes up, it fills up too much space. So that's often what happens if your line isn't thick enough. So if that's happening to you because your lines aren't quite closing just enough, drag and hold and then slide it to the left to tighten up that color drop threshold. Another thing that could happen is, let me undo these. And I'm going to grab a different pen. This time, I need another inking pen like this one. This one is called Mercury. This is new to Procreate 5. Let me draw something with it. So this pen has a very, rough edge. So if we fill this in, this is probably going to have a bit of a halo effect. So let me drag and drop and see what happens. And yep, what you see here as we zoom in has a little bit of a halo because the color drop has a hard time distinguishing the edge of that. But that is what the threshold is for. So let me undo that and let me drag that color again. But this time I'm going to hold my pencil on the canvas so I can slide up. And as I slide up, what happens? It fills in more and more of that halo effect. In fact, it only got to 75% before I ran out of screen on my iPad. So now I'll drag it again, fill it in, and I'll go up to like 90. Once I get to 90, it pretty much fills most of that in. So let me undo these. This is something that happens a lot because I will be drawing, say, a cartoon, and I'm not really paying attention to where my lines meet or something like that. And let's see, he has two eyes and a mouth. And I want to fill in these spaces, but they're not really completely closed. And this is where the color drop threshold can help. So if I drag my pink in there, it's going to fill the whole space. But if I drag that color drop threshold down, it's going to really help me, and it's going to ignore that little bit of space. So I hope that helps. That's something that throws a lot of people off. If your color drop threshold's too high, sometimes it fills your whole screen. So that's the way you can go about fixing that.